Boom. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Stream. My name is Pugs Moran, and I do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. What is the High Noon Stream? Well, I'll tell you. The High Noon Stream is me sitting here telling you everything about what's happening today. All the buzz, all the headlines, the hot topics. If it's something people are talking about, I try and give it to you right here at noon every day, Monday through Friday. We do another stream, though. Hold on. We do a second stream that comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's the nighttime version. We call that Pillow Talk. It's Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Pillow Talk is me and James Parker. Hey, Jeff Ballard. Hey, Tyranda. Hey, Al. Hey, Byron. Hey, April. Everybody's getting in. Pull up your chairs. Get ready. We're going to have a nice little day of conversation, which is, for the most part, going to be me talking and then you guys talking amongst yourselves in the chat room. But that's fine. I have no problem with that. Just that. Let me be background noise. I should be so lucky as to be background noise in your lives. All right. So let's get started here. Let's get moving. It's 12:04. Look at me starting on time. Okay, maybe I was a minute late. I don't know. Let me get a drink. Let me get some hot coffee. I got to be honest. Yesterday, I was like, it's Columbus Day. Maybe that's the reason there's not a whole lot of news, not a whole lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I can make it interesting. I think we had a good time yesterday. It was less important stuff and sillier stuff, and frivolity prevailed for sure. Here's my warning to you. Today's kind of the same. Today, there's nothing that really gets me passionate. Just a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to have to manufacture a little bit of passion and outrage for if I want to sell it to you. Sell it to them? I thought you weren't a salesman. No, that's true. That is true. But you do try to make what you're talking about sound more interesting. It's presentation. So, oh, geez. Look what we got here. Hold on. Can we do the camera on the door? There it is. Look what we got here. Dog's trying to come in. Come on, girl. Come on. CeeLo. All right, now because I'm calling her, she's not doing anything. Maybe we could, if you could see the door. Okay, see, I have to hang that towel there because the window, when I'm doing the show here, it's too much light and stuff. And besides, sometimes I have visitors and I don't want them looking in. Come on, CeeLo, are you going to come in? Now is the time. I've been telling you about how my dog can open doors, and I've been trying to show you how she opens doors. And today she's doing it, and then I called out to her, and now she's stopping. Let's see how this plays out. Oh, you know what'll work? If I have some kind of food. All right, here, let me get a bag. I know this is not normally what we do here, but apparently I've signed out on something. Okay. Hold on. I got a way that'll get her in here. You'll see. I just think it's cool. Dust just broke. Oh my God. We've just got a cavalcade of bad things happening all at once. Is this gonna stay? This will stay. All right. Yeah, it is, April. It's behind the scenes content. Hold on. I'm going to go get something, make the dog come in here. Hold on. All right. Got my kid's bag of chips. Just the crackling of the bag should cause her to be thrown into a frenzy, a canine frenzy that she will not be able to control. And she will come bursting through the door. Let's try this. This has been a dismal failure. All right, let's continue on. It is high noon for the 11th day of October, year of our Lord 2022. October 11th is the 284th day of the year. There are 81 days remaining until the end of the year. And yeah, I'm going to keep it there because you're going to see her. She's going to come through, okay? She's going to come. All right, you know what? Never mind. I don't need to do that. Just, all right. Yeah, I know. Dogs. How does she not? How? That noise is like catnip to her. I can't believe she gave up this early. There must have been a squirrel. She must have seen a squirrel. She must have been trying to come in the back door. She jumps up on two legs. She takes her front paws and she leans on the doorknob. And then she starts going like with the doorknob while leaning in with all of her weight. And she figures out how to pop the door open. I've never seen a dog that can open a door. I find it kind of convenient because she's always back and forth between. For those of you who don't know, I reside in a guest house on what I lovingly refer to as the 1%er compound. There is a big house who the dog belongs to. The dog belongs to the big house, but the dog patrols the area. So she comes back and forth between my place and their place. And she's gone. All right, never mind. I'm not going to worry about it. I just think it's so cute the way she opens the door and then she comes in. She's so proud of herself. She doesn't know how to close it though. If she could learn how to close, that's something I need to teach her. I need to teach her that once she comes in, she needs to like use her head to at least try and close the door again. Because if she could open and close the door, that would be so wonderful for me. That would be great. Let her come and go as she pleases. But as it stands, I have to get up and close the door after she comes in because, she doesn't care about that. All right, let's talk about the history of today. That's what we do on the High Noon Show. We break down the entire day for you. Today is October the 11th. First, we'll start out. We'll give you the cool things that happened in history on this day. Then we'll go into some birthdays. We'll celebrate the contributions of people who made our world better. Sometimes bad guys too. But, and then we'll mourn a few passings. There's always a few passings that we need to commemorate on this day. And only then will we get into the trending topics. So bear with me. I'm about to tell you all about October the 11th. On this day in 1910, piloted by Arch Huxley. Remember Arch Huxley? I don't know who Arch Huxley is. Theodore Roosevelt becomes the first U.S. president to fly in an airplane. On this day, 1910, first time a president ever, and did that plane automatically become, well, retroactively probably, Air Force One? It was. Any plane the president's in is Air Force One. Did you know that? I learned that from the West Wing. On this day in 1950, CBS's field sequential color system for television is first licensed for broadcast by the United States Federal Communications Commission. Happy birthday, Color TV. That's right. That's what that means. Color TV on this day in 1950 made its first appearance. On this day in 1968, NASA launches Apollo 7, the first successful manned Apollo mission. Okay, 1968, Apollo 7. I'm a space nerd born on July 20th, 1969, the day they landed on the moon. I know my Apollo missions. Apollo 7 was commanded by Wally Schirra, I want to say. Wally Cunningham was also on there, and Don Isley. That was the three-man Apollo 7 crew. Hold on, let me click on this Apollo 7 link to see who the crew was. So I'm going with Apollo 7, Lucky 7. I'm going with Cunningham, Isley, and commanded by Wally Schirra. Let's see here. It was the first crewed flight. Apollo 7 was the first crewed flight in the NASA Apollo program and saw the resumption of human spaceflight by the agency after the fire that killed 3 Apollo 1 astronauts. Let's see here. Apollo 7 crew was commanded by Wally Schirra, piloted by Don Isley, and the lunar mod pilot was Wally Cunningham. I got it right. I know my Apollo nerd stuff. I've seen everything. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I love those guys. I love the Mercury guys, and I love the Apollo guys. Then, just like everyone else in the world, I lost interest in the astronaut program after those. 1984, on this day, aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger, astronaut Catherine D. Sullivan becomes the first American woman to perform a spacewalk. First American woman. Good for you. And she did it backwards and in heels. It's an old joke. It's an old joke about dancing. I don't know if you've ever heard it. Women are as good. What's the saying? Women are as good as men at everything except powerlifting. Let's be honest. Powerlifting in 40s. There will never be a woman with the best 40 time on the planet, and there will never be a woman who is the strongest powerlifter. But other than that, I happen to agree with it. So the old saying is, women can do anything that a man can do, and they can do it backwards and in heels. That's the joke. Because of dancing, right? When a man leads in dancing, the woman has to dance too, but she's doing it backwards and in heels. All right, so there you go. So that was my spacewalk joke. It's not funny when you have to explain the joke. Isn't it? Isn't it though? Doesn't it take on a whole new color when you start to explain the joke because now you are making your insecurities the joke? I don't know. There's an argument to be made. I'm just saying. On this day in 1986, Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev meet in Iceland to continue the Reykjavik summit to continue discussions about scaling back IRBM arsenals in Europe. Now, this is famous because the Russians got really mad. Soviets, I'm sorry, were they still Soviet? Yeah, they were still Soviets. The Soviets got really mad because when the two leaders, Gorbachev and Reagan, pulled up to meet at, I think it was a Starbucks in Reykjavik where they held this. When they pulled up in front of the Starbucks, Gorbachev was, the Russian guy, but he had fur hat and he had big winter coat because Iceland, it's like he was prepared. He's from Russia. He knows what Iceland's about. Reagan jumps out of the limo. Wap-ba-da-da. He's wearing like Bermuda shorts and like a hang loose t-shirt. And he's like, let's do it. And the Russians he wasn't wearing a suit coat. Reagan got out of the car in just like a shirt, tie, and jacket. He wasn't wearing an overcoat. And the Russians were like, why is he trying to act stronger than our guy? Why is he trying to act like he doesn't mind the... And it became like a whole thing. But that happened on this day in 1986. On this day in 1991, Professor Anita Hill delivers her televised testimony concerning sexual harassment during the Clarence Thomas Supreme Court nomination. Yeah, I remember watching it. That was on a Saturday morning. I remember I was at Northern Illinois University, and we woke up on the floor, and this was on, and we're all hungover, and we're all just watching it, and then I don't know. And this is where we learned about the pubic hair on the Coke can. Hey, okay, moving on. On this day, hold on a second. Is that? Oh, that's it. Yeah, okay, 1991. That's all we're going to be doing for the history of today. We'll get as close to 1991. Let's do some birthdays. Born on this day in 1884, Eleanor Roosevelt, American humanitarian and politician, 32nd First Lady of the United States. Eleanor Roosevelt. I like the Roosevelts. I like Teddy. I like FDR. I like Eleanor. I like former Bear linebacker Roosevelt Colvin. I like Roosevelts. I like Roosevelt Road in Chicago. I like Roosevelts. Ken Burns did a documentary about the Roosevelt family that is fascinating. It's just so fascinating. It's like, anyway, it's good. Teddy was cool. FDR was cool. Eleanor was cool. Happy birthday, Eleanor Roosevelt. All right. Born on this day in 1925, Elmore Leonard, American novelist, short story writer, and screenwriter. Elmore Leonard, I'm not a big book reader, I proudly say that I don't think I've ever read a novel. I don't read novels. I have no, if I want to read a novel, if I want to consume some form of creative fiction, I'll watch it. I'm of the television generation. I don't need a book. Like, you want to tell me how great Moby Dick is? Show me the movie. I'll watch the movie. I just don't know about never read a novel. I've never picked up with one exception. I read The Shining. So there you go. But everything that I've read, and it's not like I don't read books. I do read books. I have boxes of books. I have lots of books that my mom would probably love me to get out of her garage. But they're all history books or biographies or like true life stories, stuff like that. I like that. I like documenting. I like reading about things that actually happen. I don't need to like fill my head with Wuthering Heights or Moby Dick or, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Elmore Leonard, apparently he's someone that I should read because everything that he's done that has been adapted into television or a movie, I love. I love all the Elmore Leonard stuff. Never picked up a book. You know what my favorite of the Elmore Leonard stuff is? His short story, Fire in the Hole. He had a short story called Fire in the Hole, and it was adapted into a television series called Justified. And if you've ever seen Justified with Raylan Givens, such a great show. It's on my binge list. Justified is one of those shows that every couple of years I have to go back and rewatch the entire series run. We're getting close to Justified time. About a year ago, I jumped back into Justified, and I think I got like 7 episodes into the first season, and then I got distracted. I don't know, something new probably came out. I don't know. So I jumped off. But yeah, there you have it. Elmore Leonard, happy birthday to him. Born on this day in 1925. Born on this day in 1946, Daryl Hall. Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates. Love Hall & Oates. Love them. I don't care. I don't care what you say. They got nothing but bangers. You go through the Hall & Oates greatest hits. No. Okay, all right, we'll go through the Hall & Oates greatest hits. Why not? You think I'm crazy? Hall & Oates has nothing but songs that will make you smile. And I'm telling you, and by the way, the other thing about Hall & Oates, Daryl Hall, have you ever seen that Daryl's House show? Daryl Hall is like super cool. He's like a super chill, super cool guy. All right, hold on. Let's see on Daryl Hall. There we go. All right, let's see what do we got. All right, we'll just run through these. Here you go. Here are the popular Daryl Hall & Oates songs. Huh? Just a random, I just picked a random one, and it's a banger. What I want, you got. All right. Yeah, the Maneater, a bit overplayed back in 1983, but, whatever. Okay, sure. Happy birthday, Daryl Hall. Blue-Eyed Soul at its finest. These guys, the story of Hall & Oates is fascinating. There are a couple of white guys who were playing in a bunch of, shall we call them urban clubs in Philadelphia, round about the time that the Philly soul sound was coming out. And, the leaders of the Philly soul sound adopted Hall & Oates as sort of their little white boys. Little white boys who could pull it off, and they produced all their stuff. And you got stuff like this. Here's another good one I like. Yeah, Sarah Smile. Huh? Hall & Oates, come on. Nothing but bangers. This one might be my favorite one, though. Here's my favorite one. I like this song because this is a song where Daryl Hall, today's birthday boy, Daryl Hall, just goes for it, man. There is a part in this song where he just decides that he's going to sprint with his voice, where he just pushes it. And it comes at the part where... Here, so the part I like. Hold on. Long intros. They're smoking a lot of weed back then. Not a whole bunch of urgency to get to the hook. Just relax and chill out. Hold on. I'll get to the part that I like in this song. I don't know if it's in the... All right, anyway. I'm not going to track through the whole song. Anyway, there's a part in that song where Daryl Hall is just like, she's gone. Oh, he just goes for it. He's just like, wah! And you really get to hear his voice. He's terrific. Happy birthday, Daryl Hall. Born on this day in 1946. Born on this day in 1961, Steve Young. Oh, Steve Young. Love Steve Young. Steve Young, look, I love Joe Montana, right? So I'm Notre Dame and all that stuff. Big Joe Montana fan. But even there was a point where I'm like, can we put Steve Young in? Steve Young, one of the most, I would say one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time, but he's not underrated. I mean, he's considered like in, whenever they talk about the top 10, Steve Young always gets brought up. But it just seems like he doesn't, I don't know. I like him. I love him as an analyst. I loved him as a fleet-footed, scrambling quarterback who could throw with deadly accuracy. Hell, I remember rooting for Steve Young when he played for the LA Express. That's right. We go all the way back to the USFL with Steve Young. Happy birthday, Steve Young. Born on this day in 1962, Joan Cusack, American actress. Love Joan Cusack. Remember the first time we saw Joan Cusack? I think it was 16 Candles. Do you remember in 16 Candles, the dance where they're at the school dance and there was the girl in the neck brace and the retainer who kept trying to get a drink of water? That was her. That was Joan Cusack. Also, the debut of her brother, John Cusack, was in that same movie. John Cusack was the guy, well, there were two guys that were going to pay Farmer Ted, Anthony Michael Hall, for a pair of panties. Remember Molly Ringwald's panties? They wanted to get Molly Ringwald, and then Farmer Ted went into the bathroom and held up the panties, and all the guys were like, well, that was John Cusack. And for you Chicago people, he was wearing a WLS Music Radio t-shirt when he did it. John Cusack has banned me from following him on Twitter. John Cusack and I are in a war because John Cusack is a far-left weirdo who doesn't like people questioning him. And now I can't talk to John Cusack on Twitter. John Cusack has taken the time to block me, Pugs Moran. So screw him. But I like Joan. Born on this day in 1966. Here's a sad one. Here's another cool guy. Left us way too soon. Dead in 2019. Born in 1966. Luke Perry. Dylan from Beverly Hills 90210. Let me tell you, I wanted to hate Luke Perry. I really did. I wanted to dislike him. He's handsome. He's on Beverly Hills 90210. Every girl in the world at that point was in love with Luke Perry. It's like, oh, that guy with the sideburns. And then it turns out he's super awesome. It turns out that like he's super nice and he's really cool with everybody. And nobody has a bad word to say about Luke Perry. And everybody loves Luke Perry. And it's like, okay. And then he dies. And it's very sad. Born on this day in 1966, one of America's best under-the-radar singer-songwriters and lyricists. Happy birthday, Todd Schneider. He's an all right guy. Todd Schneider. Love that guy. If you're unfamiliar with Todd Schneider's body of work, I suggest you check it out. Very funny. Rocket Fuel, was that another one of his songs? Anyway, he's got a whole bunch of really cool songs. Rocket Fuel, got to give me some Rocket Fuel. But I'm an all right guy fan. I think that's my favorite song. I love the lyrics in that. Born on this day in 1967, happy birthday, still with us. Can't believe it. Artie Lang, still with us. Right? I mean, I don't know. It's probably not good for his career that if you had said to me yesterday, for all the tea in China, is Artie Lang alive or dead? I might have had to think that through. I think I would have come down on alive, but I would have spent an uncomfortable amount of time considering whether or not he's dead or not. Born on this day in 1968, Jane Krakowski, American actress and singer. She played Jenna on 30 Rock. I love 30 Rock, but here's my thing about that character. I didn't like that character. I thought that character was either miscast or didn't really need to be there. I suppose she was good in it because everybody in 30 Rock was good, but I didn't like the Jenna Mahoney, Jenna something. I didn't like that character. I thought it was a little too over the top. I thought there was a subtlety in the comedic performance of most of the other people there, with the exception of Tracy Morgan. But Tracy Morgan was the outlier for a reason. And I just thought she was too over the top with that character. Cardi B, born on this day in 1992. I make no distinction between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. And I know that there are people out there who probably do, who are like, what? What do you mean you make no distinction? I don't know the difference. I don't know. If you played me a Cardi B song, I'm just as likely to call it a Nicki Minaj song. If you play me a Nicki Minaj song, I'm just as likely to. That's a Cardi B song. I don't really know that. I don't know which one is which. I make no distinction. Born on this day in 1994, T.J. Watt, American football player. Oddly enough, make no distinction between T.J. Watt and J.J. Watt. Two brothers, two really good sack kings. I also make no distinction between the Boses. The Boses, two brothers, they both are like sack guys. And then the Watts, two brothers, are like sack guys. They may as well all be the same person to me. I don't know. Anyway, that's the birthdays. Let's get into the deaths. Let's cover some of the people who passed on this day, who made some contributions to our world, be they good or bad. In this case, it's mostly good, I would say. Dead on this day in 1961, Chico Marx. Chico Marx, one of the Marx brothers. I love the Marx brothers. When I was back in Chicago and would have my kid for the summer, there was one summer, probably around when he was 5 or 6 years old, where I caught him watching the Three Stooges, right? He's watching the Three Stooges and he's laughing and he's having fun and all that stuff. That's fine. He's 6 years old. Three Stooges are funny. But I took that opportunity to go, oh, so you're willing to watch black and white? Okay, I've got something for you. And he and I laid down in a bed with a laptop and we watched YouTube clips of the Marx Brothers for a good hour and a half. And this 6-year-old kid was rolling. He had this is black and white, I'm not going to watch it. He just watched these comedy geniuses do physical comedy at a level that you've never seen before. I mean, Three Stooges, all of the jokes in the Three Stooges are because you can't believe how violent they are. That's basically the joke of the Three Stooges. Oh my God, he just hit him with a hammer, right? That's the joke. You got that with the Marx Brothers, but you also got incredible dialogue, wicked wit. The two wittiest guys, Groucho was so quick with a line. Groucho's one-liners were hysterical in Marx Brothers movies. Funnier than anything that Moe, Larry, or Curly ever uttered. But Chico was sort of second there. Chico was also very funny. Chico was... and it's Chico, not Chico. A lot of people will call him Chico. It's Chico. It's Chico Marx. I love the Marx Brothers. Chico Marx died on this day in 1961. 1991, we lost Red Fox. He finally came to visit her. Was it, I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming. Interestingly enough about the passing of Red Fox, he was on the set of his new sitcom. He had a sitcom back then in 1991, the Royal something, the Royal Family or something. It was something like that. It was short-lived because of what happened. But it was a Red Fox's big return to TV, network TV, had a new sitcom. I think it was him and Della Reese. I don't know. I don't really remember. Anyway, Red Fox was on set and they were filming or they were blocking or they were getting ready, rehearsing whatever scene they were about to shoot. And Red Fox had a heart attack right there in front of everybody. And he clutched his chest and he fell back into a chair and he started gasping. And everyone thought he was kidding because Red Fox's joke for 30 years was, I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth. I'm having a heart attack. Right, that was his joke. That was his joke. And when it actually happened to him, people were like, you're so funny. He's turning blue. Has Red Fox gone method? Is he a method actor now? Because I think he's really having some kind of, and he passed away. Red Fox on this day in 1991. Dead on this day in 2006. Here's a name you might not have heard for a while. If you're a baseball fan, Corey Lytle. Corey Lytle died on this day in 2006, born in 1972. He was a terrific pitcher. Yankees, but I think he bounced around a little bit before that early in his career, but he was a pitcher for the Yankees. He was a good pitcher for the Yankees. And one day, on an off day, on this day in particular in 2006, maybe the Yanks had been eliminated. I don't know. He's probably... he went for a fly. He was an amateur pilot. And do you remember Corey Lytle flew his plane right into a Manhattan apartment building, right in Manhattan, in, the mountains of Manhattan, those giant skyscrapers. He's flying his little private plane around Manhattan and he crashes right into an apartment building. He died instantly. Yeah, I love him, but holy cow. All right, let's get into the trending topics because that's what we do on this show. We try to get you all prepped up on all the things that are happening in the world. Good, bad, the ugly, whatever it is, we run it through. We don't do politics. We try not to be divisive in any way. These are all over the fence post kind of conversations. These are things that people are buzzing about, talking about today. Russia is trying. Russia. Hold on, coughing. Sorry. We're starting to deal fairly consistently with the allergies. The allergies come and go with the change of seasons. We went through it a couple of months ago, and now we're having it again. I am getting a little bit messed up. Russia is trending because we are now entering the fourth day of what is being described as Russia's most aggressive assaults on civilian populations. Just about the entirety of Ukraine has no power. They have no running water. They have nothing. Russia is going all in with this last-ditch effort to gain some kind of foothold in Ukraine because they have it. They've been pushed back. They've been pushed back from every position that they've staked out. Every time they take a place, they then lose that place in a couple of days because the Ukrainians are fighting like crazy. And God love them. It's their land. They didn't invade Russia. They were invaded by somebody else, and now they're fighting their asses off. And it's truly inspirational. I don't know if I'm going to see any movies about this, because they'll make movies, the Ukrainian resistance, it'll become a whole thing. I don't know if I'll see that movie though, because it'll be set in the Ukraine, and I imagine a lot of accents. But you know what I mean? Whatever. Cast Tom Cruise in it. Maybe I'll see it. But anyway, that's happening in Russia. They are now being accused by the Ukrainians, which again, regardless of who you think is the aggressor and who is the defender in this whole situation. Both sides are liars. Both sides are just, it's war. It's propaganda. It's wartime propaganda. So when the Ukrainians say that they are slaughtering children in the streets or whatever it is that they're saying, sounds terrible, but let's just I wouldn't put it past old Vlad. I mean, Putin is desperate, and he is still saber rattling with the nukes. We're going to use nukes. So, yeah. I don't know, but Russia. It's trending again today. Tulsi Gabbard. You don't do politics. Yeah, but this is funny because this chick, I've had a long-standing curiosity with this chick, Tulsi Gabbard. She is leaving the Democratic Party, which, most Democrats are like, what? She was a Democrat? We didn't know that. We thought she was MAGA. We thought so anyway, she has announced that she is leaving the Democratic Party. Former Hawaii representative, and she's nothing now. She's just a talking head that goes on Fox and OAN and stuff like that. Former Hawaii representative and presidential candidate. Like I was a presidential candidate. Come on. Tulsi Gabbard announces her resignation from the Democratic Party and accuses the political organization of being under the control of an elitist cabal. Okay. Probably. She's probably not wrong about that. Whatever. But can we now talk about the other side too? I mean, you think these are the Republican Party is led by good, hardworking, salt of the earth farmers? What is the difference? Stop it. Stop acting like this is a big deal that you're changing parties. Just become an independent. That's the only, if you are someone who wants to serve your country and you want me to believe that you're in any way, shape, or form legit in what you say, be an independent. Because don't sell me that one of these bullshit political parties is better than the other. Don't sell me on that garbage. You're an opportunist and you see a better avenue for your own personal success by now jumping to this party. There's the dog. Anyway, the other thing about her that I've always found fascinating, and I don't know anything about her. I really don't. It's not like I've ever, I know that she pops up as a talking head on things and she says, stuff that people either love or don't love. But here's what I learned very early on about this crackpot, and she is a crackpot. She was raised in a religious cult. Nobody ever brings that up. Everybody is like, look, okay, so she was raised in some weird religious group based in Hawaii where her father was like a high-ranking member in it, and she has she has a guru. Do you know what a guru is? We can't have politicians who have gurus. We can't have that because the guru tells her what to think at all times. That's what a guru does. They're your guide. You can't have a guru. Anyway, just look into her childhood. She grew up in a religious cult. And, whatever. That just tells me that she's got the brain scramblies. She's not, she didn't start from an even playing field. She started in the weird category, and now she's, I don't know where. But good for her. I hope that she is happy with her decision. I don't really know that people either on the Republican Party or the Democratic Party give a shit because she's not exactly. First of all, she comes from Hawaii, so she doesn't have like a strong political base. So I don't know, whatever. I guess she's kind of attractive, right? But doesn't she have like pockmarks or something? Doesn't she? I guess she's attractive, so they put her on TV, and people are like, she's attractive, and whatever. I don't know. I just think it's crazy that she was raised in a religious cult and nobody ever brings that up to her. And she hasn't disavowed it. She's like throughout her adult life, she doesn't talk about it, but she still has, who's the guy? There's like some guy. Who is Chelsea Gabbard's guru? That's what I'll ask. You know what? No. Never mind. Moving on. We don't need to do more. because I don't like to be political and just making fun of this chick, even though she's a Democrat. Until today, that's true. She schwitzed. But I always made fun of her. When she was a Democrat, I made fun of her. I don't give a shit. Independent contractors. This is a big story. Guys in the chat room, has the independent contractor story broken yet? Because when I put this up, it was still being considered with a possible announcement coming later today. Labor Department to rule on independent contractors likely to land as early as Tuesday. So that's today. That's what we're waiting on. Here's what this is about, and it concerns a lot of us. A proposed Department of Labor rule defining whether workers for rideshare, retail, and delivery companies are misidentified as independent contractors is expected to be released as early as Tuesday, two sources with knowledge of the matter said. Details of the new rule have not been made public, but the department is expecting pop-ups. Details of the new rule have not been made public, but the department is expected to model it on legal guidance that says people economically dependent on a company are employees, or go further to expand the pool of workers who should receive benefits. The Labor Department has scheduled a news conference for 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday with Solicitor. Boy, this has been a while. Okay, so here's basically the thing. We don't have any steel mills anymore. We don't have any factories. We used to employ the majority of America's non-college educated workforce through these good union labor jobs. You could work in a steel mill for 40 years and you could put your 3 kids through college. You could have a reliable automobile. You could live in a very nice suburb. Not a McMansion, not a new BMW every year on the list. I'm getting another BMW because my lease is up. None of that nonsense that we have all somehow now come to expect as normal. No, normal people had normal jobs and they could support their families and they could build their communities. It's not a thing anymore. And this is one of the things that back in the 90s, I was always with the Republicans on. Republicans aren't with this anymore, but they used to be about us shipping jobs elsewhere, until it became financially beneficial for them to all get in bed with the people who are shipping jobs elsewhere. And then they totally changed on this. But all of our jobs were either shipped elsewhere, where people in India will now make things because people in Baton Rouge want too much money for it. You know, that's where we are. So there are no jobs. There are no real, and certainly looking 20 years down the road, there ain't gonna be no jobs. There ain't gonna be nothing. So what has happened, the market dictates. So we have created this new gig economy where side hustles, people have theoretically real jobs. And then, they go and they do a side hustle and they drive for Uber, they drive for Lyft, they deliver for Grubhub, whatever it is, man. You look out on the streets, look at my neighborhood around between 5 and 7. We are just lousy with Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, everywhere. So these people do these jobs. And these companies are becoming massive. I mean, we're talking bigger than GE. We're talking bigger than Western Electric ever was. We're talking about major American, and they're not paying anything in benefits. They just, because they've been sort of insulated by this. Well, they're just part-time gig workers. So the Department of Labor is looking at this like, okay, all right, you guys, instead of making $160 quadrillion this year, how about you just make $80 quadrillion this year, and you provide the people who work for you with something that they can sustain a life for? And by that, I mean benefits. I mean health insurance. The state, look, we've already all said that we don't want people to have health insurance, right? I mean, wasn't that the thing, right? We all, Obamacare, evil, all that stuff. The state shouldn't be paying. Why am I paying for a deadbeat to have dental, or whatever the argument was? Okay, so that's fine. And the argument was, well, if they got a job, their employers would get, well, but the employers, there aren't There aren't jobs anymore. There aren't these kinds of jobs. Oh, there's jobs. People. I know a guy who owns a bakery in Fresno and he can't get people to make bread. Okay, stop it. I'm talking about mass employment. I'm talking about steel mills, coal mines. I'm talking about all of these kinds of things. They don't really exist to the extent that they once did in this country. We don't make anything anymore. So if these Ubers and all of these companies are going to start employing a great percentage of the American workforce, they got to start giving them a little something. They got to start giving benefits. They got to start offering, because right now they've made a lot of money in the past 5 or 6 years of the gig economy explosion. They've made a lot of money not having to really have any sort of responsibility for their employees. And today, the Department of Labor is going to look at that. That's basically the story. I'm all for it, man. I think that if you work X amount of hours for Uber, and I know people who work for Uber who work with larger than full-time schedules, more than 40 hours a week, and they don't have anything. They don't have anything to show for it. I'd have to really look at this and hear the arguments. Right now, I'm just, some fat narcissist doing a live stream who's just basically stream of consciousness on the issue. But I do think that if we are going to say, we've got the gig economy now, we don't need steel mills or whatever. I just use that as a placeholder for, jobs that people used to have. So if we're going to go with that, like, okay, gig economy, we got to take care of our people. We don't want to give we don't want the government giving health insurance. Enough of you have made that perfectly clear. So people aren't going to get it that way. And now all the jobs that they have that, people used to have good union jobs. Those don't exist anymore. So now they're going to do Uber and they're not going to be able to get health insurance there either. Are we just going to have people dying in the streets? Do we have no interest in taking care of our fellow man? I mean, I'm not even fucking Christian. I mean, can we please I am more Jesus-like in the way that I see the world than any of you so-called Christians who are like, tough for them. Maybe they should come to church and we can pray. There you go. You're spinning out. You're going into an area you don't want to go into. That's right. I am. Thank you. That's my co-host, Schizophrenic Me. Sometimes he gets me back on the road. There seems to be no consideration for people. What do you care about people you don't know? I know. Isn't that the question? That's the question. Why the hell do I give a shit? I don't know. I wish I didn't. I would be a lot happier. Just a touch of autism. Just give me a touch of it. Just the part, sometimes the part that makes me not really give a shit about other things and I'm just kind of in my own focus, that would be great. I'd probably not be living in a guest house. I probably would be a lot more successful, but what can you do? Hey, here's an interesting one. Adnan Syed is trending. Adnan Syed. Do you know this guy? Okay, so Adnan Syed was the Baltimore convicted murderer who was the subject of the podcast Serial. I say Serial, which I think came out in like 2016, 2017. It's been out a long time. Serial is the reason that we have this. It's ground zero for the whole true crime explosion that we've got now. Yep, here she comes. Look at her. Hey, close the door now. Close the door. Close the door. No, she went right to bed. She didn't even bother closing. She just went right to bed. All right, I got to close the door because the dog decided to. The dog just did like a Bob Hope. If you used to watch The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson would be talking to Don Rickles or something, and then all of a sudden Bob Hope would just walk out and steal the spotlight. That's what CeeLo does. She Bob Hoped me. Fucking Bob Hope references. No wonder nobody listens to this stream. Jeff Glenn says he drove for Lyft before the pandemic. That's not a job. It's just a slow bleed out. Well, I mean, I love the ride shares. I love it, but I would also love it if maybe I could be satisfied that the drivers are not just being, I don't know, used. World needs ditch diggers too, Pugs. Ditch diggers. Ditch diggers? What? Ditch diggers? What the fuck? World needs ditch diggers. No, actually, the world doesn't need ditch diggers because now we have robots that can do that. Now we have not since the steam shovel was invented has that statement been true. World needs ditch diggers too. No, they don't. No, they really don't. We got all the ditches we need. We need a ditch. We got it covered. Don't worry about that. What the world needs are parents who can afford health insurance for their kids. That's what the world needs. All right, so Adnan Syed, he was sort of ground zero for the whole true crime thing. Serial was the first big breakout podcast that really started making international headway. And then now we've got everything. You know, there's a million different podcasts that are doing the whole Serial thing. Anyway, Serial focused on Adnan Syed, who was a teenager, or 18, I think 19, in Baltimore, Maryland, who was convicted of the murder of his ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend, an immigrant from South Korea, young girl, disappeared one day. She was supposed to pick up her little sister at like daycare, and she never picked her up. And then, they started looking for her, and they finally found her. They found her body buried in a shallow grave out in some park somewhere in Baltimore. And they arrested her ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed. Now, Serial did a whole podcast, the biggest podcast ever, really. Well, I don't know about ever, but at the time it was, focusing on the Adnan Syed case and all of the issues surrounding his conviction. And there are just tons of them. If you're familiar with the story, maybe you're not familiar with the actual podcast Serial, but maybe you watched the HBO miniseries. I think it's called The Trial of Adnan Syed or whatever, something like that. You can find it. It's very good. And, it's just another one of those, remember Making of a Murderer on Netflix, where we all sat and watched that thing and we were like, this dude is innocent. This dude. Well, the Adnan Syed thing is very similar to that. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it at all. I think that there were some murder detectives in Baltimore who wanted to close this case as quickly as possible. And so they went with the ex-boyfriend. And as it turns out, here we are all these years later, there's almost nothing linking him to this. He's got alibis. Most importantly, there is not only no DNA evidence, and she was covered in DNA. There's no DNA evidence that links him to it. But there is DNA evidence that links other mystery people to it. There's like tons of other people's DNA all over the crime scene. Nothing from him. So why is he trending today? He's trending today because after all of these years, hey, first of all, guess who's about to become a super millionaire? Adnan Syed has been, he was released. He was out of prison, but awaiting a new trial or whatever. I'm not sure what the proper vernacular is for where his position in this whole ongoing thing was. But there ain't gonna be another trial because today prosecutors in Baltimore, after 20 years, have dropped murder charges against Adnan Syed. Prosecutors dropped charges on Tuesday against Adnan Syed, who was sentenced to life in prison in a shaky case that was spotlighted in the hit podcast Serial. The city of Baltimore State's Attorney's Office dropped its case against Syed, who was convicted in the 1999 killing of Hae Min Lee. Emily Whitty, a spokesperson for the office, said in an email to USA Today. Laura Nyrider, a co-director of the Center on Wrongful Convictions at Northwestern's Pritzker School of Law, confirmed the decision on Twitter. Finally, Adnan Syed is able to live as a free man. Erica Sutter, Syed's attorney and director of the Innocence Project's clinic, said in a statement, the DNA results confirmed that what we have already known and what underlies all of the current proceedings, that Adnan is innocent and lost 23 years of his life serving time for a crime he did not commit. All right, there you go. Syed was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in the strangling of Lee, who was 18 at the time. Lee's body was found weeks after her death, buried in a Baltimore park. Syed has maintained his innocence since he was 17 years old. Last month, Syed, now 41, was released from prison after Baltimore Judge Melissa Finn granted a motion to vacate his conviction and request a new trial. The state's attorney's office acknowledged at the time that the motion did not mean Syed is innocent, just that the state lacks confidence in the integrity of the conviction and requested that Mr. Syed be afforded a new trial. So those are the prosecutors. 20 years after this dude is rotting away in prison. 20 years. And by the way, he wasn't a criminal beforehand. He was a dude, but he didn't have like murder, that kind of stuff. After his release, Saeed was placed on home detention with GPS monitoring, the office said. So that was last month. So he's been on GPS monitoring. And then today they said, yeah, we're dropping the charges. Never mind. Moving on to the next. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. He was a poor, street kid who couldn't afford a good defense. His first attorney, the attorney that he had, was just terrible. She was terrible. It's like she didn't give a shit. She was just like, yeah, whatever. He's probably guilty, so I'm not going to try that hard on this case. Anyway, good for him. That's a good story. It's a good story because this dude, look, first of all, I'd be surprised if by close of business tonight there isn't a major lawsuit filed against the Baltimore prosecutor's office, the police department, the detectives, everybody for wrongful imprisonment, which will not go to trial. It will be settled. The city will probably figure, okay, what is it worth to you? 20 years, 20 plus years. Let's just say 20 years in prison, $1 million a year. And, he should be like, yeah, I'll take it. Sure. Why not? But he's going to get rich. He's going to spend, he's 41 years old. He's going to have a pretty good rest of his life. He's going to be taken care of. You're never going to get the 20 years back. Oh, that sucks. Imagine just being like a 17, 18-year-old kid and you're thrown into jail and you're a murderer and, oh, God. Oh, my God. Anyway, also today, it's National Coming Out Day. National Coming Out Day. A lot of nervous fathers out there today. A lot of nervous dads who've been looking at their kid going, why don't you want to watch the Cowboys game with me? For like the last 18 years of the kid's life. Don't be nervous, Dad. Just go with it. It doesn't change who the kid is. The kid is the same kid that you love. So some of your expectations for how this was all going to play out maybe a little bit different now, but whatever. Well, your kids, so what? Your kid's gay. Love him. It's your kid. Oh, really? You made this kid. Now you hate the kid. Oh God. I never understood that. If my son was gay, I'd disown him. Really? That's the kind of person you are? You're like that bad of a person? You disown your child because he was gay? That's a you thing. That kid is better off being away from you because you suck. You could be disappointed. You can be like, oh, I was really hoping to have this sort of traditional nuclear, grandkids and all that. You can be disappointed. But if you're going to hate your kid because of it, come on, man. What's wrong with you? That's your kid. So happy coming out day. And, you want to come out. If you're coming out today, whatever. I think this is stupid coming out day. I think people can come out whenever they want now, right? We live in a fairly tolerant society. I said fairly. Okay, I said fairly tolerant society when it comes to these things. Certainly better than by any way it was 20 years ago. Do you remember when it was rumored that Ellen was gay and just the rumor of her being gay had ABC cancel her show? Well, no, I think she came out on the show. But then ABC was like, well, we can't have a gay person. And they canceled the show because that's what America wanted. And then 3 years later, Ellen DeGeneres became America's favorite daytime talk show host. So I don't know. What does it mean? What does it mean? She's gay, so she can't have her sitcom anymore, but then just sit out for 2 years, come back and do a daytime talk show, and people are going to love you. They're going to love you. Now they hate her again. They hate her again, but not because she's gay. They hate her again because apparently Ellen DeGeneres is a bitch. Apparently she's really difficult. But don't they say that about all women? I don't know. I've worked for women who were bitches, but not to an extent greater than the dudes I've worked for who were dicks. I don't know. People in power, whether they're women or men, sometimes they don't handle it well and they act like dicks or bitches. I don't know. But Ellen is apparently kind of a bitch. I don't know. I've read enough. She's mean to people. She seems nice. Ellen DeGeneres seems like she wouldn't be mean to anybody anywhere, anytime because of her whole, persona. She's like, oh, let's dance. She's like that lady. Apparently, she's kind of a bitch. What else do we have? Google Doodle. The Google Doodle is trending today. I hate the Google Doodle. It's so irritating. Here's why I hate the Google. Oh, yeah, I hate the Google Doodle because it's always a depiction of some minority and their accomplishment. No, that's not it at all. That's not why I hate the Google Doodle. I hate the Google Doodle because I imagine the people in the room who create the Google Doodle sitting around going, how can we make people feel stupid by presenting someone who they should totally know, but they've never heard of? I hate, there's sort of like an intellectual pretension there with the Google Doodle. You sure it's not because it's always people from another place who did things? I don't know. And there might be a little bit of it. Like, can we celebrate George Washington? You know, can we celebrate? I don't know. He had slaves. Okay, gotcha. Can't celebrate him anymore. So today we're celebrating Tito Puente. There you go. Google Doodle Day. Tito Puente. He was a band leader. Cuban, was he? I don't know. Was he Cuban? I think even people back then who weren't Cuban just said they were Cuban because for some reason, the Cuban was the one that white America would accept. Maybe because it's close to Florida. I don't know. But if you were Mexican, you had to claim you were Cuban. If you were Venezuelan, you had to claim you were Cuban. If you were anything, you had to claim you were Cuban. Hell, black people were claiming they were Cuban. And they were allowed to do things that other black people weren't. What was it about Cubans that we like so much? I don't know. Anyway, Tito Puente. Was he Cuban? No, I don't even know. I don't even know if Tito Puente was Cuban. I just assumed that he was because America liked him. And back then, if you were Hispanic or Latino or whatever, you had to be Cuban. Tito Puente. Let's see what Wikipedia says about his heritage. Commonly known as Tito Puente, was an American musician. Okay, so he was an American of Puerto Rican descent. Well played, sir. Thank you. Got that totally wrong. But he was still, it didn't matter. Didn't matter where he was born. People looked at him and they went, oh, he's not a white guy. So, I don't know what he did. But he was Puerto Rican. And we're celebrating Tito Puente today with the Google Doodle. What else do we have here? I don't know. I don't have a problem with them, celebrating people that I've never heard of. What I have a problem with is that I've never heard of them before, and it seems like they're intellectually scoreboarding me by going, oh, today we're celebrating this person who I'm sure you know who this is. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. I feel stupid. Thanks for making me feel stupid, Google. Thanks. Appreciate it. What else do we have? Pete Rose is trending. Pete Rose is trending for a very funny reason. Pete Rose is trending because the Cincinnati Reds has signed a massive deal with a gambling outfit. Whee! Oh, how times change. So the Cincinnati Reds, yesterday, they signed a license. All the sports teams are doing this now. We got to keep gambling out of sports. We took gambling away from the underworld and now we've given it to corporate America. Do you still feel the same way? We think that gambling should be allowed in sport. That's all it was. It was just a boys' club. Once the boys' club of choice began making money off of gambling, suddenly gambling's getting mainstreamed. It's fine. But when it wasn't, the Cincinnati Reds have announced a multi-year partnership with BetMGM that includes a retail sports book at the stadium. You can place your bets right there at the stadium. All right, so why is Pete Rose trending? For obvious reasons, because people are like, the Cincinnati Reds? That's Pete Rose's team. Pete Rose has been banned from baseball for 40 years now, 30 years now, because he placed bets on his own team to win. He was betting, he was manager, he was betting on his own team to win, which is a problem. That's like, well, we can't have you betting. It's 1990, okay? We can't have you betting on sports. In 2022, we're going to sign a deal with BetMGM. It's going to make all this fine. But in 1990, you can't bet on sports. But I bet on us to win. That doesn't matter. But the whole reason you don't want me betting on sports is because you don't want me throwing games so that I can then personally benefit monetarily. Right. That is the problem. But I bet on my team. I didn't bet against my team. If anything, I'd be pushing my team to play harder and to win more. Still, you bet on baseball. You can no longer be associated with Major League Baseball in any way, shape, or form for the rest of your life. You are banned. But I'm Charlie Hustle. But I'm Pete Rose. Seriously. Can we put Pete Rose back in the friggin' Baseball Hall of Fame? Look, Pete Rose is a piece of garbage. He's a terrible human being. That has been documented. We know this. But so what? This is not the same thing as Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Jose Canseco, all of these guys who used a drug to enhance their performance on the field. That is cheating. That I understand is cheating. You were not existing on a level playing field with the other guys because you were doing something that was outside of the rules. That's why Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, all of these guys should not be allowed in the Hall of Fame. They were cheating. Pete Rose wasn't doing any of that. Pete Rose is just a degenerate gambler who is betting on his own team because he can't help himself. Pete Rose on the field is one of the greatest baseball players to ever lace him up. And what, he's banned? He's banned. Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb killed a man. Ty Cobb is a murderer, and he is in the Hall of Fame. And now that's why Pete Rose is trending, because everybody's like, wait a second. The Cincinnati Reds now have this major deal with a gambling operation and their most famous player of all time. And I would say that Pete Rose is probably the most famous Cincinnati Red of all time. Pete Rose can't be associated. He can't even come to a ball game or whatever the deal is. I don't know. Maybe he can go to a ball game as a paying customer. I don't know. But that's why Pete Rose is trending. This is ridiculous. And look, I think Pete Rose is a total dick. And if I was being, if I was like, yeah, screw that guy, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I would vote for that because, but I'm not a disingenuous person. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, but is he good enough to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Yeah. Did he do anything that would preclude him from being in the Baseball Hall of Fame? No, he didn't. He didn't do anything. This is just a hard line that you assholes took 30 something years ago. And now you're like so stubborn that you won't bring Pete Rose needs to come back into baseball. If Major League Baseball is going to start signing these deals with gambling companies left and right, you got to put Pete Rose back in, and it'll be a wonderful day. Imagine the game in Cincinnati where Pete Rose is welcomed back. That will lead Sports Center. It will be the sports story. It will, first of all, it's a good look for baseball. And you're killing baseball. Baseball is dying. Baseball is not... Got it. All right, so there you go. That's why Pete Rose is trending. Hey, Antonio Brown is trending. Antonio Brown is trending again. He was trending last week because he pulled his dick out at some Dubai hotel and started waving it in the face of people. And, that's like that. If that had happened like in an American hotel, there'd probably be charges and all that. But it happened like in an alternate universe. And that's what Dubai is. That's an alternate. That's not the same. That's apparently you would think, even, having a penis in public would be something that would get you thrown in jail in Dubai, right? Isn't that what they have all these morality laws. But no, he was allowed in this private hotel, this resort to do what he did. And nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him, which is okay, whatever. Some predatory behavior there. I saw the pictures. Did you see the pictures? Antonio Brown, the pictures, man, they had to use like more pixels to pixelate his thing than they've ever used before. I'm just telling you, Antonio Brown, like a forearm, it was crazy. Tommy Lee is a bitch compared to Antonio Brown, is what I'm saying. But Antonio Brown is trending again today because he has shocked Antonio Brown. You guys, Antonio Brown has shocked the NFL world. He has shocked the entirety of the NFL world, and from the corporate offices all the way down to the fan in the stands. Antonio Brown, according to this headline, and I believe everything I read, he has shocked the NFL world because he made a tweet. And guys, I don't know if I told you this, but it has absolutely shocked the NFL world. You probably didn't even hear about this. Didn't shock anybody. It's so stupid. So here's what he tweeted. So here's the problem. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Just gotta wait. Because, the internet, It's like a little gerbil on a wheel powering this thing. It's a buffering. All right, so Antonio Brown has shocked the NFL world because he posted this to Twitter regarding, he says, "I'm starting my own team, boom," and that's what he tweeted. I'm starting my own team, the Retardinals. Hey, I come from the 80s. I can still laugh at the use of that word. But here's why. He shocked the NFL world, or at least anyone, the Gen Z portion of. We used to use the word retard or retarded callously. We used to just throw it around all the time. And I'm not one of these people who thinks he said retarded. He called somebody retarded. We need to end his life, or whatever it is that people want. I'm not that. Like, whatever. Hey, I still chuckle. When I was everybody when I was little was either retarded or gay. That was it. There were two lanes. You were either retarded or gay. You're so gay. Oh my God, look at you, you retard. I mean, that's just how we talked. And I used to defend the use of that. I used to say, like, playground gay was playground gay. It was like, we're not talking about anyone's sexual proclivities or their orientation or whatever life struggles they have. We're just simply looking for, a way to cut them down. And then as I got older, I started to think about that defense. And, I can see it because we are using it as a pejorative. Somehow the idea of being gay makes you less than. And it doesn't matter that I wasn't thinking at 11 years old what the whole ramifications of a gay lifestyle would be. I wasn't thinking like that. But, part of growing up and getting older and understanding things is that I came to the conclusion that, yeah, it wasn't quite as innocent as I made it out. And maybe I was just, because as a kid, that's gay, you're gay, we're gay, you're all gay, this is gay, I hate this, it's gay. Because I used it so commonly as a kid, and everybody did, I was sort of just justifying mass bad behavior. Now as a grown-up, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was I probably shouldn't have been saying that because, but it's not a major crime. It's not like I should feel bad about it. I mean, I still sitting around with my friends go, that's gay. You know what I mean? We still do that when you're with your certain group of friends. I have two kinds of humor, by the way, you should know. I have friend humor, where I sit around with my friends and we talk like barbarians and we say really crazy, silly things. We don't mean it. We're just trying to make each other laugh, whether we're trying to shock each other. And then I have the sense of humor that I use publicly around people that I don't know. And maybe it's a good thing that I have those guardrails, that I know what to say when I'm with, E and Ed or Aaron or whatever. And then I have a whole different kind of vernacular that I'll use when I'm, speaking publicly. But let's go to the retard thing, because this is what I wanted to talk about. I used to always say retard. Oh, good one, retard. That was just like the way we said it. It didn't mean, hey, let's be mean to kids who are mentally challenged. That's not what it meant. It was just dismissive. And yes, it was possibly thoughtless and all that. So how did I evolve on the use of retard? Like, I don't care that AB used it. I really don't care. Whatever, he wants to use it, that's fine. He's comfortable with what that karmically positions him as. Good. I'm not. I had a conversation a few years ago with the mother of a retarded child about this very subject. Now, it wasn't a situation where I said, yeah, look at the retard. And then she said, well, my son is retarded. No, it was more organic than that. It was just a nice little conversation. And she just brought up the subject of whenever she hears people say that word, it always just hurts her heart. And that's why I don't use it anymore. That's why I won't call people a retard anymore. It's why I won't say, you can, I don't care. That's a you thing. That is how you feel about, but me having this mom of a retarded child tell me about how difficult it is. All I thought of was, yeah, I'm not going to say that word anymore because I don't need to be putting that bullshit out. Right? I don't need to be, my contribution to this moment in time doesn't need to be retard. It doesn't need to be. That's, let somebody else contribute that. Okay. Maybe I can. So whatever. The NFL world is shocked by Antonio Brown's use of the word retard. No, they're not. They're just looking at another thing to be able. And I have to believe that Antonio Brown probably knew that was going to be clickbait, that people were going to blow that tweet up. So whatever. You do you, people. If you are comfortable using those words and you are comfortable understanding that there is a slight chance that you could hurt somebody innocent's feelings and you're comfortable with that, then just do it. That's fine. I'm just not, I don't want to put that out there. It doesn't make me better than you. Maybe it makes me more of a pussy than you. Maybe it makes me more, oh, you're a pussy. You care about hurting people's feelings. Honestly, what I care about is what I generate, what I create, what I generate, what I put out there. That's all any of us can do. We start out, we wake up in the morning, and from that moment, we're just putting shit out. We're just, whatever it is, with our tweets, with our attitudes, when we're talking to somebody on the phone, whatever it is, we just constantly put stuff out. And I don't see any need to like put out. But again, you do you. It doesn't make me better. It just makes me more, more of a pussy, I guess. I don't want to. I have no interest. I'm old and I'm slow. And when they start coming for us, they will catch me easily. So I would like to be on record until that time when I'm being chased in my underwear down the front, down my street by a bunch of Gen Z trans people. When they're chasing me, I would like them to have not the worst evidence against me. You know what I mean? He said retard in 2006. Yeah, but then I talked to some mom and I changed my opinion as they're beating me with shovels, glow sticks. I don't know. Am I mixing generations? I don't know. Whatever. Again, I'm getting old. It's not in my world anymore. It is a new world that is emerging. And so it is incumbent upon me as an older dude to sit, watch it, and instead of pushing back and going, no, we still want our ways, just go, yep, this is how it happens. As Tony Soprano would say, Tom in memoriam. The new generation takes over and they make the rules. You can either fight it or you can just go, yep, my grandpa went through it. Your dad went through it. Your mom went through it. Your great-great-grandpa went through it. The world suddenly changes. You know who's going through it? I'll tell you who's going through it? Bill Murray. Bill Murray is going through some stuff. Bill Murray having a moment. Not a good one, but he's having a moment. Bill Murray is trending for two separate reasons. Neither of them are good today. Full disclosure. Love Bill Murray. Don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if he's a dick. I expect him to be a dick. Bill Murray is a dick. That's part of his charm. His whole, I'm Bill Murray. I don't give a shit about anything. I'm going to say what I want. But he's a man from a different era, and they're coming for you. He's not even my generation. Like he's like a generation. He's like my parents' generation. You know what I mean? He's like your mom and dad's generation. He's a boomer, born in the 1940s, maybe 1950. I don't know. But the world has really changed. The entire world that he knew, that he honed his sensibilities as far as comedy and performance and getting a reaction out of people. All of that has changed on old Bill Murray. And now, getting himself in a little bit of hot water. For instance, we'll start with this one. Geena Davis. Remember Geena Davis? She was like a big movie star, but then she turned 45 and Hollywood went, back to the pumpkin patch for you, lady. We can't have any 45-year-old women in Hollywood. But Bill Murray, is 80 and still making movies. Anyway, Geena Davis is now talking about her time with Bill Murray. They did a really bad Bill Murray movie called Short Change, where he was like a clown who robbed a bank. I don't know. It was Geena Davis calls out Bill Murray for behavior with massage device. I said no multiple times. From Chevy Chase to Richard Dreyfuss, Bill Murray has soured several of his relationships with Hollywood elite. Okay, that's a terrible headline. And it doesn't achieve what I think the headline writer was hoping to achieve. At least not with people like me who know that it is well documented over the past 50 years that both Chevy Chase and Richard Dreyfuss are two of the biggest assholes in Hollywood. So for Bill Murray is such a jerk that he has gotten on the wrong side of Richard Dreyfuss and Chevy Chase. Yeah, both of these guys are like well known to be dicks. So if Bill Murray is getting on the wrong side of them, I got to imagine I'm on team Bill Murray. Richard Dreyfuss is a pompous ass. Chevy Chase, you can't work with him. You can't. Allison Brie, Annie from Community. Allison Brie, her. She's also from that female wrestling movie on our TV show on Netflix. Allison Brie from the Smirnoff commercials. She does Smirnoff commercials. Allison Brie is like the sweetest, most docile, most whatever girl. Allison Brie says Chevy Chase is an asshole. Allison Brie has broken bad on Chevy Chase from their years working together on Community, saying that he was just pompous and so please, Gina, or headline writer here, don't try and make me hate Bill Murray by saying that he's, he doesn't get along with Chevy Chase and Richard Dreyfuss. Because from what I understand, nobody gets along with those two guys. Gina Davis's first interaction with her quick change co-star, Bill Murray, involved being greeted with a device she calls the thumper. In an interview with The Times on the precipice of her new book release, Dying of Politeness, that's Gina Davis's new book that she's selling. Dying of Politeness, Davis recounted meeting Murray for the first time in a hotel suite. She alleges the Ghostbusters actor introduced himself with a massage device he insisted on using on her, despite her emphatically refusing. A representative for Murray did not immediately respond to the Fox News digital request for a comment. Gina says, I said no multiple times, but he wouldn't relent, Davis wrote in her book. According to Davis, Murray placed it on her back for a total of, are you ready? Are you ready? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. He placed the massager on her back, not between her legs, not on her boobs, he walked behind her, placed the massager on her back for 2 seconds. She said no, he removed it. Now he's a chapter in her book about what an asshole he is. That was an accidental. I hit that. I was good. I was trying to clear my throat like that, and I hit the wrong button. That's what this is about. Davis also revealed that once she got the part as Phyllis Potter in the movie, Murray was cruel to her. Davis remembers waiting for her wardrobe team on set when Murray tracks Davis down in her trailer and begins screaming at her for being late. He reportedly, it sounds like he demands professionalism, okay? And not some woman who doesn't like the way her hem is on her dress and at the last minute needs to get it repaired. You sound like you're defending Bill Murray. I am defending Bill Murray. Why? Because Bill Murray is, I do not think, a bad person. I think Bill Murray is Bill Murray. I think we need to put him in a whole new category. He's Bill Murray. He's an icon. He's a comedy icon. He's tremendous. I don't give a shit if he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. Have you ever heard the stories of Bill Murray in public where he's just like a normal guy? So I'm sorry, Gina Davis, that you had to go through the cruelty and torture of having a massager. They're not even suggesting that it was a sex toy. Some places call massagers. It's code for sex toy. No, it seems like it was like one of those real massagers, and he put it on her back. She said, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't want that." And he took it away. 2 seconds. And now he's being trashed by Gina Davis in her new book. Sounds like she's trying to sell books. Sounds like she's trying to sell a few books, so she's got a few stories. As I said, Bill Murray is also trending for another reason. Do you remember a couple of months ago when they shut down production on Being Mortal, which was Bill Murray's new film? I believe this is Aziz Ansari directing and writing. Being Mortal is a new film that was in production. It was it shut down. They shut it down. They sent everybody home because there was a complaint against Bill Murray about his actions. Now, we didn't know what it was. There was just, they shut down production, so it must be a huge thing. And I don't know. They figured it was a huge thing. Now it's being revealed Bill Murray has, since the shutdown of production, Bill Murray has paid $100,000 to a woman who claims he sexually assaulted her on the set of the film Being Mortal. So that's what this is about. This we now know. They shut down production on the film because Bill Murray sexually assaulted a woman on the set. Right there in front of everybody. He just raped her. He sexually assaulted her right there on the set in front of everyone. And nobody did anything. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Okay? And look, Bill Murray paid her $100,000 to shut up and go away. So what I'm saying is $100,000 is nothing. It is nothing. So the gravity of the indiscretion to me, based on that number, says, oh God, what did he do? Did he make a joke that fell flat? And now suddenly it's all this. Bill Murray has paid his unnamed sexual assault accuser from the set of Being Mortal $100,000 to settle the matter outside of court. This according to Radar Online. The surprising development comes roughly 6 months after the mysterious incident took place and forced production on Being Mortal, a film produced by Disney's Searchlight Pictures and Aziz Ansari's directorial debut, to come to a grinding halt. So 6 months ago, they halted production because Bill Murray sexually assaulted a woman right there in front of everybody. And it wasn't in front of everybody. It was in front of everybody. What he did occurred in front of everybody. RadarOnline.com, as Radar Online previously reported, Searchlight Pictures paused production in April after a complaint of inappropriate behavior was filed against Murray. Late last week, we were made aware of a complaint, and we immediately looked into it, a vague memo to the movie's crew said at the time. After reviewing the circumstances, it has been decided that production cannot continue. Production will be in touch with you to share details on the wrap, and we will let you know as soon as we have more information to share, the memo added. Murray also spoke about the incident during an interview with CNBC shortly after the complaint was revealed, explaining, "I did something I thought was funny, and it wasn't taken that way. In that, the world is different than it was when I was a little kid. What I thought was funny as a little kid isn't necessarily what is funny now," the Ghostbusters actor continued. "Things change and the times change. It's important for me to figure that out. And the most important thing is that it's best for the other person as well." All right, so that's what he said at the time about the incident. Remember the sexual assault on set that occurred in front of everybody? Paid $100,000 to make it go away. So what was the indiscretion? What did he do? According to the reports, the 71-year-old Groundhog Day actor allegedly straddled his accuser, a PA, a production assistant. So a young woman who was a production assistant on the set. According to the Puck News, the 71-year-old Groundhog Day actor allegedly straddled his accuser and started kissing her body, kissing her shoulders, kissing her arms before he kissed her on the mouth. Although he was doing this as a joke, because it needs to be noted, as is noted in the next sentence, they were covered in COVID stuff. He was wearing a mask and they were wearing COVID stuff, and he was making a joke. And yes, could that joke be taken by a 20-something-year-old young woman today as being over the line? Absolutely. But is that over the line? Is that really, was she ever in danger of being knocked unconscious and raped right there in front of her? Was there any real concern for her safety? Or was Bill Murray just kind of getting into being Bill Murray? He was just kind of being, "Oh, really? These things won't protect us from this." And okay, a little aggressive. Yeah, I'll give it to you. But $100,000 for that, for something that he's probably clowned around with other people on he wasn't like, my God, we got the Weinstein trial going on. I was reading the Weinstein thing. Harvey Weinstein literally raped people. He blocked doors. He told them that they couldn't have a career, or that he would destroy whatever career they had if they didn't blow him. I mean, can we please have these categories and stop lumping everyone together? Bill Murray is not Harvey Weinstein. Bill Murray is an old man who still thinks that, grab-ass humor from the 1960s and 70s is funny. It's not, and he's got to sort of fix that in himself, and he's got to adapt, and he's got to try and be whatever he's going to be for the next 20, 30 years of his life. But come on. He is not. The article goes on to say that the reaction to shutting down the production may have been a bit hasty, and they are going to they're talking about restarting production soon now that all of this is being settled. But why was it hasty? They believe that they were extra freaked out about it because the film itself, Being Mortal, is Aziz Ansari's return. Aziz Ansari, remember they tried to cancel Aziz Ansari because he went on a date with a girl and made a move. That's what he did. She came back to his apartment after drinks and after a date. She came back to his apartment and he pushed her against the wall when they walked through the door, and he kissed her. The way any number of Okay. So anyway, that was him being rapey, scary guy, and they tried to end his career for it. He did a whole stand-up special on it. He made his mea culpa. He's like, okay. He's like, so maybe guys can't make the first move anymore. I don't know what it is. But anyway, that's why they kind of overreacted, because Disney was already out on a limb being involved in this project, a reclamation project for the reputation and image of one Aziz Ansari. And then in the middle of this, Bill Murray goes squirrely. And they're like, oh, for crying out loud, shut it down, let's get a hold on this. But honestly, $100,000, that ought to tell you how serious it was. That's nothing. He spends that on a weekend in New York City. That's Bill Murray spends $100,000 on hotel, limousine. That is nothing. That is absolutely nothing. What else do we have here? Swatting. Swatting is trending. We've been talking about this, that this is a new thing that kids are doing. Kids, when they don't want to take a test, they're just calling in an active shooter at their school. There's an active shooter in the lunchroom. Click. And then, threats to Miami-Dade Broward County schools are unfounded as swatting epidemic continues. So today there were 4. There were 4 SWAT teams responded to 4 different locations in the Miami-Dade school system. And there you have it. Dumbass kids. I mean, my God, one of these are going to be real. God forbid. God forbid. Blink-182. What's my name again? Blink-182. That's their name. They have announced they're getting back together and they're going to tour. They're going to do a stadium show. Now, these are all the guys. These are all the important ones anyway. This is your Hoppus. This is your DeLong. This is your Barker. This is in the other guy. I don't know if the other guy, the bass player. I don't know. Is he a bass player? I don't even know what he is. Whoever the other guy is, whatever. He's probably involved. Blink-182. This is a big deal. This is a big concert tour. This is I didn't think there was a hunger for Blink-182 until I woke up this morning and saw that they were touring, and I went, I'd go see that. I'd go see Blink-182. So when are we going to be able to see Blink-182? Let's see here. Let's check out their tour schedule. I like Tom DeLonge because he's crazy UFO guy. Like, he took all of his rock star money and decided that I'm just going to blow all my money on trying to prove aliens exist. And he's been doing that. And he does really cool stuff. He does good stuff. Look, I'm a UFO guy. I love the UFO stuff. Love the UFO stuff. I think Tom DeLonge does some fun stuff. All right, so we are coming to a city near you. So the 4th guy isn't mentioned. So here's the video. They released a YouTube video, and it's Barker. He's not wearing a shirt. Here, I'll show you this. Look at it. Look at these idiots. Ugh. This is why, I hate Travis Barker. I really, really hate Travis Barker. He just irritates me. He checks every douchebag box that there is. And let me show you. Here you go. All right, look at this. Look at him. Why doesn't he have a shirt on? Wait, why isn't that sharing? This is like the second time this problem has happened for me. Boom. There we go. There it is. Why doesn't Travis Barker have a shirt on, yet he's wearing a knit cap like his ears are cold? Are your ears cold? Maybe put a shirt on. How are your nipples doing there, douchey McDouchebag? Look at this guy. Look at ugh. And then, of course, you got DeLonge and Hoppus. And then they look kind of normal. They look totally normal. Although, what's with my man's stained shirt? This guy, he seems to have a stained shirt, doesn't he? There's like white things, unless he's doing like a whole star UFO thing. All right. Travis Barker. Seriously, you could have just, I don't know. Travis Barker has done a lot of things over the years that I've just gone, oh God, he is such an apex douchebag. He's not going to work. Okay, let's do the photo shoot. Travis, you want to put a shirt on? No. Travis, maybe you should put a shirt on for the photo shoot. No, man, I'm good. Are you sure? Yeah, just get me my knit cap because my ears are cold. Such a douchebag. He's a douche. All right, so let's talk. They're going to open their tour March 11th, 2023 in Tijuana, Mexico. Well, they're from San Diego, so that makes sense. At first, I thought Tijuana. Why would they open in Tijuana? And then I'm like, oh, but they're from San Diego, so that's like be a huge like San Diego audience there. Then they go to Lima, Peru, Buenos Aires, Santiago, Chile, Paraguay, Bogota, Colombia, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Mexico City, Monterrey, Mexico, St. Paul, Minnesota, eh? They're going up to St. Paul, Minnesota on May the 4th, eh? Chicago, Illinois, the United Center, May the 6th. Detroit, Michigan, May the 9th. May 11th, my son's birthday. We're going to Toronto to see Blink. No, we're not. No, but in Toronto on May 11th, they'll be playing at the Scotiabank Arena. Montreal, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, New York, Belmont, Boston, Washington. Are they coming to Texas? Brooklyn, Baltimore, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, San Jose, California, Sacramento, California, Seattle, Washington, Vancouver, BC. They're not coming to Texas. Boom, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, July the 5th at American Airlines Center, Blink 182 comes to Dallas. Day after 4th of July. That'll be fun. What is 4th of July? Is it a weekend this year? Or is it like Tuesday? I don't know. But that'd be fun. That'd be 4th of July, the 5th of July. You have your 4th of July day. Oh my God. There are going to be like some late 30s, overly tattooed douchebags out at all of your 4th of July parties, just talking endlessly about how they're going to see Blink 182 tomorrow. I'm seeing Blink 182 tomorrow, brah. It's going to be like that. I like Blink 182. I really don't have a problem with Blink 182. I liked punk rock. I liked like some like cool punk rock, like Clash and stuff like cool punk rock. I like Ramones, stuff like that. And then when I got into my 30s, late 20s, early 30s, there was this like sort of repackaging of punk rock. It's like corporate record companies went, we should revisit the punk rock thing because I think we can connect with a young consumer that is really, and so they started giving us like the rebirth of punk rock, of which Blink 182 was one. But it was, even I worked in radio, I worked in alt radio at this time, so I saw like how they were being pushed and all that, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't really punk rock. You're not really punk. I mean, the music sounds like punk rock. It sounds like punk rock if the person who writes Britney Spears songs wrote a punk rock song. That's what Blink 182 is to me. And so it's not real punk rock, but it's good music. It's good music. I don't have a problem with it. But oh man, that's not real punk rock. Shut up. Go away. You know what it is? It's better than punk rock because this is punk rock that makes money. You know how your favorite heroes from your punk rock days are playing scuzzy clubs on the outskirts of town and they're in their late 50s? Remember, you know how they're doing that? Blink 182 never going to have to do that because, see, they actually wrote shit that sold when they were in their moment. So stop with, it's not punk rock. I guess poverty is punk rock. If that's the case, I think Blink 182 did it right. It's not real punk. It's candy ass punk. Oh, aren't you macho? Aren't you? Ooh, really? So this is candy ass? This is you're telling me in your estimation that it's candy ass because you're a badass, Mr. Accountant. What, really? If you miss them in Dallas on the 5th, you can see Blink 182 in Austin on the 7th. 2 days later, they'll be playing the Moody Center down there. Or in Houston on July the 8th. You can get down there to see them at the Toyota Center. I do not see a San Antonio date, but why do you need a San Antonio date? You got Austin. You make the trek. There you go. Dallas on July 5th for Blink 182. Austin on July 7th for Blink 182. And Houston on July 8th for Blink 182. What's my name again? They were catchy, man. They were a pop band. They were a pop band cosplaying as punk rockers, but it doesn't matter. It was still good. Don't get pigeonholed into labels. Oh, that's a different label than the one that I'm supposed to be with, so I'm going to go get out of this line, and I'm going to start hating on them now because they ain't real punk. Travis Barker survived a plane crash. That's pretty punk rock. That's about the most punk rock thing Blink 182 has ever been involved in. Travis Barker surviving a plane crash. The UFO thing, though, also. Tom DeLonge is UFO. That's kind of punk rock. It's kind of punk rock for him to spend all of his money on UFO discovery. What else do we have here? Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is trending. Tom Cruise is trending. Do you know why? Do you know why Tom Cruise is trending? Because maybe gonna die. I don't know. Tom Cruise is a guy who's like 70. I don't know. Tom Cruise, how old is Tom Cruise? He's 60, maybe 50, late 50s. I don't know. But he's definitely getting older. And he's still, doing the action films and all that. And he prides himself on, I do all my own stunts. No, you don't. I mean, you do some of them, but you don't do your own. Come to find out, maybe he does do all of his own stunts, because there is a new film that Tom Cruise is involved in, which will have him become, are you ready for this? This is really kind of interesting. He's going to be the first, Tom Cruise, how did they word it? Tom Cruise's space movie will make him the first civilian to do a spacewalk outside of the space station. This, according to the boss at Universal Pictures. He's making a movie, and part of the movie is going to be shot on the International Space Station, and they're going to send Tom Cruise to the International Space Station. They're going to make him a spacey man. They're going to send him to the International Space Station in order to shoot scenes there. And while he's there, Tom Cruise is going to do a spacewalk. Look, I think Tom Cruise is a silly man, and he seems to have a whole bunch of baggage that he carries around with him that he uses to define himself. And he doesn't like to waver away from what his brand is. You try and take him off that brand, and he will fight you for it. He's very good. Look, Tom Cruise knows what he's doing. If somebody, he was 19 years old, and he said, I'm going to be the biggest movie star in the world. And he said that to C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, and in front of Francis Ford Coppola. This was the cast of The Outsiders, one of Tom Cruise's first movies. He made that statement while they were all sitting around saying, he said, I'm going to be the biggest movie star in the world. And they were all like, yeah, right. And then to hear Rob Lowe tell the story, which I've heard him tell the story on a podcast, to hear Rob Lowe tell the story, Tom Cruise just at that point forward just outworked everybody else. All of the people that Tom Cruise started with, the Rob Lowe's, if you just look at that like Outsiders cast, you look at that cast and you say, okay, these are the contemporaries that he started with. Now, there were some big stars out of there. Rob Lowe became a star. Not so much C. Thomas Howell. Certainly Francis Ford Coppola was already a god, but Patrick Swayze became a big movie star. So other people made it. But apparently, while Rob Lowe was out partying with the Brat Pack, do you ever wonder why Tom Cruise wasn't a member of the Brat Pack? Because Tom Cruise didn't party back then. Tom Cruise focused on his career 100% of the time, all the time. And it's how Tom Cruise became Tom Cruise. And he's still doing it. He is still working his ass off. Now, again, I think he's a weirdo, but whatever, if you're measuring his worth by his ability to make his dreams come true, well, then he's probably worth a lot. So here's the story. Tom Cruise will hopefully, qualifying it here from the beginning, Tom Cruise will hopefully become the first civilian to do a spacewalk outside of the International Space Station when he blasts off to space to shoot a new action movie with director Doug Liman. Okay, so he's back with, okay, all right, why is this important? Doug Liman's awesome. The best Tom Cruise movies, in my opinion, of the last 20 years have been when he's been doing movies with Doug Liman. They did a movie called Edge of Tomorrow. You ever seen Edge of Tomorrow? That movie's awesome. Actually, I think there's two names for Edge of Tomorrow. I think Edge of Tomorrow, when it first came out, was called something else. And then for the international release, they changed the name to Edge of Tomorrow. And now, all these years later, it's kind of officially known as Edge of Tomorrow. But I think it was called something else. Anybody know? Anybody know what was that movie, Edge of Tomorrow, what it was originally called when it was in movie theaters? Or what it's alternately known as. I don't know. Anyway, Edge of Tomorrow, great. Really good movie. And you look at it and you think, oh, this looks stupid. This looks stupid like a million other movies of this genre. And then you watch it and you're like, no, this movie's great. And I actually was like, who's this director? And I'm like, Doug Liman? Okay, all right, I like this guy. The other one that he did with Doug Liman is American Made. Have you guys seen Tom Cruise's American Made, where he plays the cocaine pilot? It's the true story of that guy, Cocaine Cowboys. I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary, but Tom Cruise it's the lead role, American Made. He plays the cocaine pilot who was flying all the cocaine in from Bogota or wherever it was, the Medellin cartel or Cali cartel, whatever it was. There was a documentary made about 20 years ago called Cocaine Cowboys, and it basically depicted this guy's life. Tom Cruise and Doug Liman made a movie about it, and it's really good. It's really good. So Tom Cruise and Doug Liman are making another movie, and this one's going to have him doing a spacewalk. Hopefully. We'll see. Tom Cruise is taking us to space. He's taking the world to space. That's the plan. We have a great project in development with Tom that does contemplate him doing just that, taking a rocket up to the space station and shooting, and hopefully being the first civilian to do a spacewalk outside of the space station. I wonder what the insurance on that is. Because, when big stars are involved in movies, there are huge insurance policies that have to be drawn up. Because what if you're making a $200 million? Okay, so maybe that's a little much. No, not for Tom Cruise. Let's say he's making a $200 million film, right? And then Tom Cruise, with like a week left of filming, breaks his leg and he can't continue, right? So there needs to be something. Then they got to shut down production for 6 weeks or however long it takes to get. And then so that's all lost money. That's why they have the insurance policies. You send him to space. What's that insurance policy going to look like? Like, is it going to be like $100 million premium? Like, here's like, what are you going to have to pay an insurance company to get them to insure Tom Cruise not blowing up on a rocket going out? Because we don't have space travel down. I know we think we do because of all the science fiction movies and all that stuff that we see. It looks real easy to fly around in outer space. In actual practice, it ain't that easy. Rockets still blow up all the time. That's why we tune in to watch these, SpaceX or, Virgin Galactic launches, because there is a part of us that thinks, this thing's going to explode. This thing's going to explode today. We don't have it down. So sending Tom Cruise up there, I'm just saying, in the middle of and by the way, what is the budget for that movie going to be if they're going to have to put them up in space, right? They're going to have to, is that going to cost something, or is Bezos just going to go, hey, why don't you catch a ride? Because it's great publicity. Maybe that's the deal. I don't know. Like Shatner. Shatner didn't have to pay. Shatner got to go for free because they knew it would be good publicity. All right, Tom Cruise, how exciting for you. Devonta Adams, Los Angeles Raiders wide receiver, is in trouble today because apparently he pushed somebody on his way off the field. So last night, I think it was probably early second quarter or whatever. It was like 20-0. The Vegas Raiders were just rolling up on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I was over at the Big House, and E had the game on his giant garage door size TV. Literally, the TV is the size of a garage door. He's watching the game, and I peek my head into the room and I go, holy cow, this is an ass kicking. And he goes, yeah, Kansas City can't do nothing. And I just cavalierly, as I turned, I walked out and I said, yeah, but the Raiders are going to blow it. And they did. They did. The Kansas City Chiefs came back and won that game. So Devonta Adams was really pissed off, being a wide receiver for the losing team who blew the lead. When he was coming off the field, apparently he pushed a dude, a civilian, pushed him, get out of my way, and shoved him. And, now everybody's like, he's a mean football player. That wasn't nice. Get out of his way. Get out of the way. Anybody that's down on the field or on the sideline, it doesn't need to be there. You get trucked by a player, get out of there. You don't belong there. This is why I don't go backstage at concerts. Hey, Pugs, you want to go backstage? Say hi to the band. They'd love to see you. They thought the interview went really well. Do you want to see? No, I don't. I don't want to go back there. Why? Because every time I have gone backstage, here's how it has gone. I have had to stand along a wall being very awkward while people who are working their asses off are running around. You're just in the way. Don't go backstage. You're in the way. Unless you go to like a private dressing room where you can sit on a couch. But if you're just going to be, you want to go backstage? No, I don't, because I'm going to be in the way, and there's going to be like roadies and stuff looking at me like I'm some douchebag who thinks it's special to be backstage, when really they just want to move this giant amplifier out of this area onto the truck. So you're just in people's way. Feel the same way about the sideline in football games. Get off the sideline. Unless you're at a kid's game, you're at a kid's game, you can stand on the sideline, that's fine. You're at a pro game, get off the sideline. You get trucked, while a player is coming. If you're that close to a player, you're somewhere you shouldn't be, okay? Because you're not supposed to be that close to a player. Now, apparently he did it aggressively and he was angry, but his team just blew like a 21-point lead. He was upset. Las Vegas Raiders receiver Davante Adams could be suspended or fined for shoving a photographer to the ground as he left the field following Monday night's loss at Kansas City. A person familiar with the process told the Associated Press on Tuesday. Now, get out of the way, photographers. There's an area for photographers to be in, and they're not supposed to leave that area. But because photographers just want to get the shot, they will stray from that area. And that's what this guy did. This guy was not in the photography area. This guy had gotten to the tunnels, or the area of the tunnels, where when the players were coming off the field, he thought, hey, how much money could I make if I get a really close-up picture of Davante Adams being very pissed off right now? Let me see if I can do it. I'm just going to stray from this designated area where I'm allowed to be, and I'm going to jump in front of him at the last minute and take a picture. And he got trucked by a professional football player who just ran over him. A person familiar with the process told the Associated Press on Tuesday that the league is reviewing Adams' actions following the 30-29 loss. 30-29. Did I mention they were up 21-0? Did I think they were something like that? Did I mention it? And they lost 30-29. I hate the Chiefs, man. I hate the Chiefs. I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate them in like a loving way. Like I don't hate, like I don't root against them for any reason, but I hate that there is a team out there, and Chiefs have been doing this for a long time now, but it's not just a fluke. It's not an anomaly. They get their asses kicked, and then just Patrick Mahomes goes to work, and he just, it just breaks my heart. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Well, they did it again last night. Let's see. Detectives from the Kansas City Police Department Assault Unit are investigating the incident and will work with prosecutors to determine whether charges are warranted. As Adams left the field, he pushed what appeared to be a member of the camera crew to the ground as he headed into the Arrowhead Stadium tunnels. Bekchina is a spokesman for the league, said the photographer went to the hospital for treatment for injuries that were non-life-threatening. Oh, really? They were non-life-threatening? He got shoved out of the way because he jumped into the face of an athlete who just blew a 21-point lead, and he got shoved to the ground, and his injuries aren't life-threatening? Okay, thank you. But he still went to the hospital. You bitch. You bitch. Pick yourself up. You bitch. Go to the hospital just so I can have it documented in case I want to sue him. Adams apologized in his post-game comments to the media later on. He jumped in front of me coming off the field. Kind of pushed him. He ended up on the ground. Adams said after the game, I want to apologize to him for that. That was just frustration mixed with him really just running in front of me. That's it. And that's what I saw. Did you see it? Did you see it? That's pretty much a fair description of what I saw. He jumped in front of me while I was coming off the field. I kind of pushed him. He ended up on the ground. I want to apologize to him for that. That was just frustration mixed with him really just running in front of me. I shouldn't have responded that way, but that's the way I responded, and I want to apologize to him for that. That is a terrific response. Terrific response. And I am not a Davante Adams fan. I just think that that's a fine response. Okay. End it. Now, if this photographer, who is, by the way, let's stop. Photographers, especially, they're leeches. They are looking to steal your most, how do we say it? Vulnerable moments. That's what photographers do. They are constantly, if you are a celebrity, photographers are constantly on the hunt to steal your most vulnerable moments and then sell them to magazines or to .coms or whatever for their own enrichment. That's their entire motivation. Oh my God, this actress's daughter just died. Let me get a close-up picture of her crying. Click, click. Let's not feel bad for the photographer, okay? Let's understand what the photographer here was doing. He was trying to get a close-up picture of Davante Adams being upset because his team just blew a 21-point lead. Let's not act like he was out there feeding the hungry and, working with Mother Teresa. He wasn't. He's a piece of shit because people who do that job are basically pieces of shit. Really? You're going to say, photographer? Isn't one of your best friends a photographer? Yeah, but he's an art photographer. He takes pictures of beautiful landscapes and stuff. He's not chasing around lesser royals, on the streets of France, trying to get a picture of who they're dating. And that's not what he does. Parasites, paparazzi. That's what we call them. They're parasites. What else do we have here? Who else is trending? All right, so we did Devontae Adams. Regis and Kathy Lee. What? This can't be the last one. Oh, maybe it can be. It's 151. Maybe it can be. Kathy Lee Gifford. Maybe you remember last week, Kelly Ripa. She made some waves. She's got a new book. And in her new book, she talks about how nobody reads. All these people with their books. You know how hard it is to write a book? It's hard to write a book. Although I guess if you're writing about yourself, that might be easier. Like I could probably crank out a book on myself, but it's if you're writing about something that's anyway. So Kelly Ripa in her book said that it wasn't always easy working with Regis, that Regis was kind of grumpy at times and wasn't always super nice to her, especially in the beginning. But she also, it needs to be said, because we cherry pick the most flammable pieces of these stories. It also should be said that she goes on in the book to talk about how she dearly loves Regis and Regis was like a second father to her and all this stuff. She talks about how she loves, but there is some, she says, but sometimes Regis could be a little bit, prickish. And especially when I first started, he wasn't really warm to me. But again, she goes on to, fix that by saying, oh, but I loved him and we were very close. Okay. So all we care about is that she said Regis could be a prick. So now we got Kathy Lee Gifford. Getting involved here. Kathy Lee Gifford, who, by the way, no friend to Kelly Ripa. Kathy Lee Gifford, I guess the revisionist history now says that Kathy Lee Gifford left Regis and Kathy Lee because she wanted to pursue her singing career and spend more time with her family. How are you going to do both? If you're touring because you're promoting your singing career, how you spending time with your family if you're touring in support of your singing career? Seems like you'd be more likely to spend time with your family doing the show with Regis every day in New York, 2 blocks from where you live with your family. But no, okay, go ahead. You want to do your singing career. So that's what it was said. But the reality is that she was pushed out. She was pushed out because they wanted a hotter, younger woman. And so they replaced Kathy Lee with the hotter, younger version of Kathy Lee, who was Kelly Ripa. So Kathy Lee does not love Kelly Ripa. New York, they sat side by side for more than 15 years as 2 of the greatest TV talk show co-hosts of all time. Take a sip before I give you my hot take on that. They sat side by side for more than 15 years as 2 of the greatest TV talk show co-hosts of all time. 100% agree with that statement. They were terrific. Maybe a little cheesy, maybe they weren't your cup of tea. But man, as somebody who, was interested in working, I was working at much of it, I was working in radio on ensembles. The chemistry that those 2 had that was so natural and so not forced, they really did seem to be authentic with one another at all times. And they were terrific. And, Kathy Lee was kind of a weirdo and, Regis was just, kind of fun. But it didn't matter. They were terrific together. They were fantastic. And then, Kelly Ripa jumps in and they've got terrific chemistry as well. So I'm guessing it's Regis. I'm guessing that Regis was the one that was in charge of the chemistry distribution and he was really good at it. But anyway, Kathy Lee is now talking about the Kelly Ripa comments regarding Regis Philbin. It says here, so it came as no surprise that Kathy Lee Gifford recalled only positive memories working with Regis Philbin amid claims Kelly Ripa, who filled Gifford's seat in 2001 when she left the show the year before, had difficulties with the late broadcaster. So Kathy Lee Gifford's like, well, I never had any difficulties. I'm not going to comment on Kelly's story. This is Kathy Lee. I'm not going to comment on Kelly's story. It's hers. She can say whatever she wants, Gifford exclusively told Fox News Digital. I'm a big believer in freedom of expression. I don't believe we're supposed to cancel anybody. Who's bringing up canceling? Ain't nobody bringing up canceling. I don't believe we're supposed to cancel anybody. She has the right to tell her story as she remembers it. Ain't nobody talking about canceling Kelly Ripa, you old dummy. Ripa, a former All My Children star, caught criticism earlier this month when excerpts of her new memoir revealed her great privilege of working with Philbin. Also came the great burden of a less than easy working relationships all the time. My experience with Regis was one of the greatest experiences of my entire life, Kathy Lee Gifford said. I worked with him for 15 years. We never had one unkind word between us. That's not true. Sorry. It's just not. You don't work in that type of environment with somebody talking about everything for 15 years and not have one. Okay. The God of the Way author, apparently that's her new book, God of the Way, explained that her desire to leave the show while it was at the top of its game in 2000 was to pursue her own artistic passions. Right. Wasn't because you were like getting older and they had this hot little chippy that they want to do, you know. I wanted to be a writer, Kathy Lee says, and a singer, an actress, like I started out being long before I met Regis, she said. Grateful for the 15 years I had with him, but I had to go. I just had to move away. All right, so there you have it. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. Kathy Lee Gifford, Kelly Ripa. I like Ripa. I like Kelly Ripa. Kelly Ripa got a funny shout out on Saturday Night Live this week. Did you guys, anybody see Saturday Night Live this week? So this is a year of transition for Saturday Night Live, as Lorne Michaels has said that it's going to be a little bit different than maybe what you expected over the past 50 years. I don't know how long the damn show's been on. And basically what that means is that they're going to be doing a lot less live and a lot more pre-produced stuff, you know, digital shorts, pre-produced stuff. And they did one this past Saturday, or maybe it was the Saturday before. I'm not sure. I watched both Saturday Night Lives consecutively on Hulu. I fast forward through all the stuff I didn't think was good. But they did a bit where they were introducing, it was pre-produced, filmed, where they introduced the new cast members, and all the new cast members were talking about how, like, the one dude was like, yeah, when I first showed up here, I remember Lorne Michaels met me at the elevator and he said, come on, walk with me and I'll tell you all about it. And we walked past all the pictures of all the stars and he said, we're going to put your picture up here in just the next couple of days. And I just thought, wow. And then they go to the next cast member and he's like, yeah, it was incredible. I've always wanted to be here, and I happened to show up on a day when there was a party going on, and it was just, everybody was so warm and so wonderful, and Lorne really kind of took me under his wing. And then they go to the next person, and then the next person says basically the same thing about how, they were welcomed in, told they had all this talent and they were going to be big stars, and Lorne Michaels was so great. So then they go to this other new girl, right? I don't even know her name yet because she has a totally different story. And her story is basically Lorne Michaels recruited her for Saturday Night Live so that he could then brainwash her and send her to Russia to kill Putin. And it's just like this crazy. It's like all these other people have these really nice stories, and she's just got this like Mission Impossible kind of story about the way that Lorne Michaels dealt with her. And anyway, the Kelly Ripa thing is because she goes, and then it's 3:00 in the morning and I get woken up from a dead sleep and it's Lorne Michaels on the phone. And he says, you got to get over to my apartment right now. It's on. And so I don't know. I don't want to lose my job. So I get dressed and I go over to Lorne Michaels' apartment and the doors open up and it's Lorne Michaels, John Kerry, the president of France, and for some reason, Kelly Ripa. That's the name check. Long way to go for the name check, but it's a funny bit. It was a funny bit. It was a funny sketch. It was probably the funniest thing that I saw in 2 episodes of Saturday Night Live. Although there is a part of me that was like, oh, this is they're just doing the old Kate McKinnon bit. Remember the old Kate McKinnon bit where it was always 3 people who were abducted by UFOs, and the first 2 people always had these amazing experiences being abducted by UFO. They had their lives changed forever, and now they see the world in a different way, and they're better people for it. And then it would get to Kate McKinnon, and she's like, I don't know what you guys went through, but I was bent over and proud. And she goes into all these like horrible. It was the same bit. It was the exact same bit that they just changed to everybody having these great experiences with Lorne Michaels, except for this one who had this crazy international espionage thing. So that bugged me a little, but it was funny. It was really funny. If you have a chance to see it, see it. It's great. It was funny. And this new girl, I don't know who she was. She made me laugh. She made me audibly laugh. Out loud, I laughed. I chuckled. Her telling the story of what, and then they threw me in a van and suddenly we were at a dock and I was blindfolded. I knew we were by the water because I could hear the seagulls or whatever. And then everything went black. I blacked out and I was on an airplane and it must have been for a couple of days. And when I woke up, I was in the middle of this Russian forest or whatever. I don't know. It's funny. You can just go see it. All right, there you go. That's going to be it for today as far as the stuff that I've prepared. Let's see if there's anything new popping that I can mention before I get out of here. Don't forget, we're going to be back. We are gonna be back tonight at 9:00 for Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. That comes to you every Monday through Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Okay, let's see what's trending. What's trending? Adnan. Yeah, he's trending. That's the guy in Baltimore that the serial podcast was about. Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell was left off the Dodgers 26-man NLDS roster. Whew. Tell you, I had to suffer through Craig Kimbrell in a White Sox uniform last year. I can tell you, the dude was trash. He probably had 2 or 3 good outings with the Cubs, and then he was trash with the Cubs, and then the White Sox get him, he's trash with the White Sox. Then the White Sox trade him to the Dodgers, who are like, we're going to have the best closer in baseball. And all the White Sox fans are like, no, you're not. No, you are not. And now he's not even on the postseason roster. Let 2019 be the day that we officially end pretending that guys like Dallas Keuchel, oh God, former Cy Young winner, he's gone. He can't pitch anymore. And Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell. Talking baseball, you know who this is upsetting? This is upsetting Jeff Glenn. So I'm going to move on. All right, let's see. Anything else trending? National Coming Out Day. The Phillies are trending. Tulsi is trending. Max Free. Okay, a lot of baseball. Never mind. Middle of the day, there are postseason baseball games happening, so there aren't going to be any trends that have anything to do with anything other than who's playing second base for the Philadelphia Phillies or something like that. Nylon. What is that? Blade, Kimbrell, Jonathan Major. All right. There we go. All right.
I have got my poetry. I have got my song.
Yeah. Okay. April Michelle says the new cast member I was talking about who was funny is Molly Kearney. Is her name Kearney? She's she. Look at me calling her she. Because as April points out, new cast member is Molly, and they are non-binary. That's fine. So if I were to say, like, if I were to just say right here, and again, old guy, new world, changing, I'm no judgment. I'm willing to go with whatever you kids dictate is the way of the world now. Whatever. Grab me a surfboard. I will ride whatever wave is in front of me. I don't care. But this Molly Kearney on Saturday Night Live, I know that she's gender fluid or whatever, or that would be like, what if, look at me right now. What if I just showed up here and went, yeah, I want you to start referring to me as they because I'm non-binary. With my beard and my baseball cap and, basically all of it. I'm not non-binary. I'm obviously heavily on the dude side of things. That's my point with this Molly Kearney. She's like obviously a woman. She's like obviously not non-binary. Why? Now you're just like really confusing me. I'm like, when I see somebody who's non-binary, you can tell when somebody is non-binary. And you're like, okay, this person is non-binary. It all makes sense. This new Saturday Night Live girl, lady, oh, wow. You got to call them what? The new Saturday Night Live them. I don't know. I'm not good with pronouns. I was never good with that. I think I slept through that day in school when we learned about pronouns. Whatever they are leaning heavily on the female side of things, because I would not see that person walking down the street and go, there's a non-binary person. I'd go, look at that girl over there. It's just I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not judging. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying it's confusing times, and she ain't helping. Oh, they aren't helping. See, I will try to be respectful. All the time I'll try to be respectful. But be respectful to me as well. When I go, okay, this is hard for me. You get it? It's hard for you because you're a monster. No, it's not hard for me because I'm a monster. It might be hard for me because I was born in 1969, but I'm not a monster because of that. I'm trying. We're all trying. Give it a rest. Give us a break. Look, when somebody isn't trying, it's obvious. Like when there's an asshole going, trans people should be murdered. When somebody does that person's not trying. And you're right. I will fight with you to make sure that person gets whatever they have coming to them. But there's a lot of people like me who honestly don't give a shit what you want to classify yourself as. And we applaud you. Good for you. You do you. We're trying.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar. That is all I need.
What am I doing? I'm just like sitting here. I'll like say something. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the whole. Doesn't bother me that you're non-binary. That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is that I am suddenly a bad guy for not being up to date on all the latest terminology. How about I just treat you like a decent person? How about if I say, young lady, will you come here? And you say, I'm non-binary, I'm not a young lady. And then my response is, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. How about that just being the end of it? But that doesn't seem like that's ever the end of it. It seems like it's just, you don't classify me. I was like, oh, God. Oh, God. Can't we all just hang out and be cool? I don't care what kind of panties you wear. I don't care how you identify. Are you a decent person? Do you make me laugh? Are you nice? That's all I care about. There are some radicals on both sides. Both sides. There's always radicals involved in everything. What has been our mantra here? There are people on the far right who suck, who just totally suck. And there's people on the far left just suck. They totally suck. And then there's the rest of us who are somewhere in the gray area. Some of us are a little bit leaning right, a little bit leaning left, whatever. But the vast majority, like 80% of us.
I always had to be on guard. That is understood.
I don't think it's 80%. Now that I think about it, it's probably like 60% of us. Maybe it's the 60 in the middle who are just like, ugh. Can't we all just be cool? Can't we all? All right, see you tonight at 9 o'clock for Pillow Talk. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform, 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, right here at pugscast.com or radiomisfits.com.